Well, this week there were several videos and claims brought to my attention about unpickable locks. So, a YouTube channel called Stuff Made Here, I covered a while back that they had made a lock that was they considered to be unpickable. And after lots of encouragement, he made a second lock and sent them both to Lockpicking Lawyer. I'll just read the description to their most recent video that they put out simultaneously with the Lockpicking Lawyer's video. It said approximately 999,999,998 people have asked me to send my unpickable lock to Lockpicking Lawyer. I decided to do you one better. I'm sending the Lockpicking Lawyer 2 unpickable locks with different designs. It'll be interesting to see if he can pick them. If so, we'll fix those issues and make them even stronger. And I'll also include a link to a behind-the-scenes commentary that he put together during a live stream for his Patreon supporters. He's published it to YouTube, which is a kind of a director-style commentary on the video making the version 2 lock. And I'll also include a link to the Lockpicking Lawyer's video where he attempts to pick both the locks. I don't think it's any surprise at this point that he does find a way to get around both of the locks. It's an example, in my opinion, of Lockpicking Lawyer at his best. He is excellent at looking at a lock and discovering a way to defeat it. He knows all the different techniques that we use, and he has a great gift for looking at a lock and figuring out what techniques are going to be applied to that lock and be successful, and then doing it on camera. So, very well done. He's already made some suggestions back about how to fix some of the problems, and they've already started implementing those. So, this is a great collaboration and could result in a real fruitful product that is unpickable eventually. So, definitely good to see. They're on the right track. Not unpickable yet, but on the right track. Then we have another video that was posted this week entitled A 3D Printed Unpickable Lock. The description reads, last year I made a 3D printed unpickable lock. I mostly made it to hopefully prove that unpickable locks are possible, despite what many people think. It's an interesting design that kind of follows the same principle, although very different implementation, but the same principle as Stuff Made Here's locks, in that you're separating the phases of inserting the key and testing the pins. They're two separate different phases. Stuff Made Here does it by, you have to rotate the key, which disconnects the key from the pins, and then the pins are tested. This one, you push the key in to disconnect the key from the pins that are going to be tested, and then you rotate, and that tests the pins, because there are two cores. There's an inner core that the key goes into, which has its set of ball bearings, and then you have an outer core, which can either have a break between pins and a ball bearing that will allow it to rotate, or the pin can be across the shear line of that core that prevents it from turning, and theoretically you can't test that until you've pushed the key in and disconnected the core, or the inner core. So, interesting idea. Be interesting to see if he'd be willing to send that one to Lockpicking Lawyer, see if Lockpicking Lawyer can look it over and find a way around it. And then Rune sent a link to a website on my Discord for a patent to an unpickable padlock device. It's not a padlock itself. It is a device that you encase a existing padlock in that's supposed to make it unpickable. It appears from the patent paperwork to be a two-piece metal case that you put an existing padlock in that restricts access to the shackle, making it a shrouded shackle padlock, also restricting access to the keyway and all that, and with an optional magnetic ring around the keyway to attract any metal picking tools, a neodymium magnet and a ring around the keyway. It has a slot for the key to go into, which it says can optionally rotate. So if it doesn't, would mean the key would have to be cut down and made very weak to be able to rotate the core inside if the slot it goes through doesn't rotate, and from what I can see from the drawings. Also, the slot can be quite a ways separated, depending on the lock you stick inside it, can be quite a ways separated from the actual keyway of the padlock inside, which would mean that the key would have to be extra long, as best I can tell from the crude drawings on the patent. Ultimately, what it comes down to from the verbiage on the page and looking at this person's Twitter page, the main goal of the site is to link to as many dubiously relevant pages as possible to get a lot of Google SEO and to try to sell these patents to either lock companies or, as he says, IP law firms, patent assertion entities to pad their patent portfolios. And he doesn't really seem to care whether that is lock companies or patent trolls. Just wants to sell these patents. That's my reading of his saying that the rights are available to IP law firms and patent assertion entities. So I'm not impressed with the design. I'm not convinced that it would be unpickable. I am convinced that it would make picking more difficult, but I also think it would make operating the lock extremely difficult and, from the design, run the risk of novice users breaking keys off inside this armored housing, which would then be very difficult for a locksmith to remove or deal with afterwards. So, not a good design in my opinion. It's just one of those, let's put more barriers in the way and make it more difficult to both use and pick. But that's my take on it. If you're the operator of that website, feel free to reach out to me and set the record straight, but that's the way I see it.